week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I'm your host, Ben. We are here with
Liam.
How you doing today, Liam?
Good.
All right. You wanted to do this episode after listening to the Whimsy with the Z kids, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What were your first impressions of those five kids?
Am I being honest?
Yeah.
Well, they all sound like they have fun things to do, and they all sound like they're all pretty set up for their life currently. You know, they all have their cliques, their friend groups. You know, some of them are focusing on having good academics, getting into colleges. You know, I hear there's reading, there's a bunch of getting jobs, and then the 11-year-old is focusing. What's Dean?
11 was Danielle.
He's obviously being an 11-year-old, playing with his brother outside, you know, doing all that fun stuff. Yeah, it sounds like they're pretty set up right now.
All right. So we mentioned before that you already do the podcast. We already hang out, but you wanted to kind of expand on that, the Whimsy with the Z community, and you wanted to kind of be a part of it a little bit with them, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead and, school is starting. We're at the end of the summer. So let's get to know you a little bit. How old are you and when are you coming, or what grade are you going into?
I'm 14 years old going into my freshman year.
That is exciting. What was interesting with the other Whimsy teens is their let's see, Danielle's school was weird because it went it was 5 to 7 or 4 to 7 or something, whatever it was.
5 to 8.
Yeah. And then yours actually went 7 to 12. And then I think Mark and Pinky are 9 to 12. So it's really kind of weird where the high school experience kind of starts with everybody. But you've technically been in your high school for 2 years.
I haven't. I didn't really get to adapt to being a junior high kid. I mean, you're there with a bunch of high school teachers, and you're on the same campus as high school kids. And obviously now there's 2 separate buildings because we're in a new school. And now the junior high kids are going to be separate from the high school kids. So
okay. Oh.
So I got to experience my junior high years being treated as a high schooler.
Okay. Because I remember, because it was a newer school, the number of kids that went those last 2 years wasn't enough to fill 2 schools, but now you have more kids, and now you can fill a junior high and a high school, which just adds to the interestingness of the high school experience. So your junior high experience was kind of piggybacking on the high school experience.
And obviously being in wrestling, and as a wrestler, I was brought into the high school room as a 7th grader, doing high school level practices.
Okay.
It was like I said, I was a junior high kid being treated as a high schooler, and I'm really glad I did get to experience that, because I'm glad I'm not going to be a immature freshman.
Okay.
And I'd like to go in and have a standard and set myself above expectations of a freshman.
Right. Because you went in, because you never had that junior high expectation. You started so for 2 years you've been maintaining a high school expectation. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting, and I knew it, but only when you say it out loud do I finally put it all together. So, what did you do all summer?
So the first half, all wrestling. I mean, I had I went on summer break, had a week off. That was kind of just my stay up late, sleep in days.
Mm-hmm.
didn't really hang out with friends because I just got done talking to them for basically a year.
Right.
So then after that week, we start getting ready for my camp, my wrestling camp.
Okay.
For 2 weeks.
And that was local? Or is that the one when you went up?
We were local.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we went up.
Okay.
But then I got injured, actually. I hurt my ankle, and I was out for a week.
What does wrestling during the summer look like? Because normally you would do it in school, you would do it after school, and then you were in a club.
My team's different. So we practice like it was in season when some schools weren't practicing at all. So that's why I think our team can be really successful.
You guys keeping that competitive edge where everybody's sleeping, you're out working.
Yeah. But like I said, I did get injured, but then that following week, we went to my camp, and I'll tell you that was like the best experience of my life. Like I had the most fun. Like I bonded with all my friends. Like, going to little towns, and then obviously wrestling, connecting with those coaches. Mosh pitting in the college campus was fun. And yeah, but then the second half kind of was just the same: sleep and stay up late. I kind of didn't really want to talk to anybody because I just got done after spending 9 days with the people I loved most, and you never get tired of that. But I don't want to talk to them
right
for every day. And then now I'm spending 4 days with you.
Yeah.
And
Sunday,
school
Monday,
starts
Tuesday,
in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Let's see. What did we do this week since I had you extra?
Sleep.
We had lots of ideas. Kind of fell through a little bit, but I think it was still a successful week here. Different because normally I only get you for
18 hours.
Right, a day, maybe a day and a half. So it was interesting to see you here for an extra 3 extra days.
Because I will say the first day I was here, we didn't see each other basically.
You slept for
a whole
24 of the first 30 hours I saw you. Mm-hmm. What did we end up doing?
I play the Switch on the couch. You play Earthbound on the TV.
We cleaned a little bit.
A lot of driving.
We did some driving. It wasn't what we wanted, but are you happy with the Are you happy with the extra 4 days that we had?
Mm-hmm.
Was it what you needed right before you go back to school?
Yeah, it was laid back. It was really laid back.
Right.
And yeah, I could say I really needed that because wrestling, being at my mom's house, and then I guess kind of having a break from it a little bit, and
just kind of like a mini vacation from vacation, on vacation. So, you mentioned driving. What are you doing with that? What does that mean?
Well, I am 14. It is coming up. So we're kind of just doing the parking lot experience. Make sure you get your turns. You make sure you're looking at your surroundings. Make sure you're not hitting other cars. Make sure you're stopping at stop signs. Make sure you're riding on your side of the road.
Kind of just getting you comfortable, steering and pushing all the buttons and kind of just feeling it around. You feeling better about it?
Better than I did before. I will say, last night I did get a little frustrated because it was kind of more real and not just oh yeah, you're driving a car, you can speed a little bit, because going on a road where you could have someone coming in 60 miles per hour.
Right.
So
we took you out of the parking lot a little bit. Nothing crazy, but yeah, I put him in a little bit different surroundings, just so he can kind of gauge what it looks like to be on a regular street versus a wide open parking lot. I like it. Don't know if your mom's ever going to hear this. I don't know if she's going to. But we were all safe about it. We made sure that, always check the parking lot to make sure it was empty. It was later. But yeah, just to give you just a little bit of experience, just so you can, I don't think in any way do I suggest that you start driving like more or like home. But I think it was kind of a fun summer experience to kind of just see what it's like to be behind the wheel a little bit. Are you excited to go back to school?
It's going to be weird because it's usually the stereotypical answer of no, but I'm saying yes because something about school, like I don't mind doing the classes, obviously. It's like, it's going to suck. It might be hard. You might fail tests. You might get yelled at by mom. But I'm really not myself unless I see other people. I feel like my personality is elevated when I'm with my friends, junior high wrestling is a first quarter sport because there's quarters. And I'm really excited to see the junior high team that I've kind of been a leader to now, how they do. I have some close connections with some of these young up and coming 8th graders, and I'm really excited to see what goes on for them. And I'm going to be more focused towards the getting better part of it. I'm going to start doing club wrestling again. And when I'm not club wrestling, I'm going to be going into that junior high room, being a leader and guiding them to be successful.
With school coming up, you mentioned you do wrestling. Are there any other school activities during school or after school that you participate in?
Oh man, okay. So I do AVID, focuses on organization, which I try, and then setting yourself up for colleges when you're older. We do college projects. We research colleges. Do field trips to colleges. It's a great experience. And then
so you're doing all that still 4 years ahead, just so they're training you to start thinking a little bit more about your future.
Yes. And then I am a vice president of or whatever I am. I'm vice president of my 2028 class.
Does that stay like all 4 years?
Yes.
So you're gonna be vice president for 4 years. So they elected you for 4 years. All right.
So I'm gonna be doing like homecoming stuff. I'm gonna be like making T-shirts, projects to raise money for my class. We're gonna have a float that does like fairs and stuff. Just doing a lot of stuff. And then I'm also a leadership. Means I'm going to board meetings, trying to raise money for my school.
Like school board meetings?
Yes. With the president of our district.
Okay.
And
also you're like elbow deep in like high school politics a little bit.
Yeah. And I think I need that because I don't want to fall into the bad things, and I want to stay busy. So I'm not home. Not home alone, just playing video games, because obviously I like doing that, but I feel like if I just stay in that, it's not only gonna help me right now because my coach is proud of me, my mom's proud of me, you're proud of me. I mean, I got a lot going for me, and I just don't want to fall down a bad thing, like smoking, drinking, parties, etc. And then it'll set me up for my future. Scholarships, they really look into that. It'll be like, oh yeah, he was vice president, and he also is a wrestler, and he has pretty good grades, and it'll set me up for the rest of my life if I just do these little things.
So the what you just said, a lot of these extracurricular activities are things that you would put on like a college application. Have you ever thought about putting Whimsy with the Z or just Chasing the Whimsy, like the fact that podcasts like on a college application at all? Like, have you ever thought like the appeal of a college seeing that one that you're public speaking for 2 years now, but like 6 by the time you get out, and then just the idea that you have this teenager centric podcast. Have you ever thought about, would you add Chasing the Whimsy and or Whimsy with the Z to a college application?
It's not that I'm embarrassed about it, but that it's a no. For the career cluster that I'm going for, I don't think I would need to put that. If I was going into, businessman or like what Aaron does, like Toastmasters or something like that, I would put that down. But like I said, going for the career cluster I'd want, I feel like there would be more important things to put down. And if it comes up to that topic, I could say that I do have experience, and I did have a podcast, and I've talked in front of people, interviewed certain people, and kind of went out of like the comfort zone and talked to some random people like Robert Kurtzman, Chen.
Interesting question. I was gonna I'll bring it up with the other teams because, and I'm not disappointed or upset with that answer because it's still kind of like podcasting is still weird because there's everybody's podcasting, but yet it's still semi new, especially in like a high school environment. Because what's interesting is every comedian that does like talk shows, they always tag that they're host of this podcast. So I just don't think the podcast aspect of it has shifted into like the school environment yet. But I'll probably ask that question every year just because we'll see if this thing blows up, starts helping lots of people, lots of teens. Like they, personally, there's kind of like this idea that Whimsy with the Z becomes like this platform for teens to help each other, to relate and everything else. So right now it's a little bit small, but I think God forbid it blows up and we can do some real good with it. It might be something that you could then be proud of, putting on an application or anything. But I was just curious. I was just because I put this stuff on my resume for days. Let's see. What are you the most confident about moving into the school year and or yourself?
It's kind of a common stereotype for teens to, not be confident about themselves. And I feel like there's a big downfall of the Zoomers, I guess you would say. And the generation, the 4 years above me, if they're in the same generation.
Right. I think I think the Gen Z is going to be 12 to 27 right now. So technically, everybody you're going to go to school with would be considered a Gen Z.
It's just it's kind of hard to be confident, especially with bullying and a lot of stuff that does go around in schools. It's really hard to see these innocent kids get beat up, and it's kind of, you look at it and you're like, what if that was me? And it's unfair, and it's hard to be confident as a teen. And some teens, they do have stuff to be confident about, and they just don't say it. But it's kind of hard to explain.
Are you confident with who you are right now?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I like to, like I said, I think I'm pretty set up right now, and if I keep the plan going like I do these next 4 years, and I get a scholarship, yeah, I think I'm pretty confident with not only wrestling but
Academically?
see, if I put my mind into academics like I do wrestling, I'll be perfectly fine.
You've done so much the last year. Was there an example in the last year that, although confident, something happened, or a moment, or just something where you didn't feel confident, where you just started doubting everything that you were doing?
So my season championship, the first team to bring home a championship in our school, I was not a part of.
Okay.
And it was really hard to be confident because obviously my coach brought me into the high school room, and I was supposed to be levels above everybody. But then things happened, and one of the other kids was better than me, and watching my team being a leader in the team and kind of doing whatever it takes to be successful, and it doesn't work out. It's kind of hard to have that all process. But I've had talks with my coach, and he's like, it's fine. No one in your college is going to look at that. They're going to look at what you did in high school.
Right.
And he's like, if you really want to succeed, you got to do everything it takes. And that's when I started doing club, start lifting at home, doing, like he said, doing everything it takes. And that's made me more confident today.
I think it is common. No, I lied. Okay, so of the 5 teens that we have on with the Z, I think 2, 3, 4, all of them mentioned a lot of focus on friends or their social group. It sounds like with the wrestling and your friends in the school aspect of it, would it be fair to say that they're a priority in your life?
Yes.
Meaning their expectations, being with them, and they're your support group to be better.
Yes. My team is what my coach likes to say. We need to act like we're the best team on campus. We are the best team on campus, and you will act like the best team on campus. Mm-hmm. You're going to pass your classes. You're going to be students before athletes. You're not going to, do stupid stuff in classes, get you in trouble. Because I think wrestling really has evolved me, because I feel like before I was kind of getting in trouble a little bit.
Here and there, nothing crazy.
Not every day I was going to the office. It was like
you weren't Henry Stickmin in just stealing cars.
Yeah.
You were, a little, I'd say almost typical teenager-y stuff, a little rebellious at times.
And in my 7th grade year, I got suspended twice, and my coach said, let it happen again. And I was like, okay. 8th grade year, I did not get one referral, did not get one bad comment about me from any teacher.
Now, I agree. I did the same thing. So this isn't anything specific to you, but with you and the others, and a lot of that focus and attention to the friend zones, keeping all your friends being important. Where does family where do they hang out? That we're all supportive of you, but because you're so focused on them, does family lose a little bit of the lamb?
Absolutely. My mom brought it up. She's like, I think your coach is more of your mom because he sees you more than I see you. Because there's days where, long day of school, wrestling practice, go home, shower, crash,
Right.
And my family doesn't really see me during season or whenever I have practice when it's off season. And, you do tend to feel bad, but I'm still there for all the family gatherings. I had a wrestling tournament on my mom's birthday, and I kind of lost some things like there, and I'm not spending as much time because Saturdays are tournament days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm going to, and these wrestling tournaments are long.
Oh, yeah. I know. We were there. We went.
That was the shortest one.
That's crazy.
Usually, sleep in the bleachers, my mom's there, but you're not going to want to hang out with your mom when you're there with your friends.
Well, and to be fair, like I made a comment, I think a while ago, we went to the tournament we went to, you have your game face on the whole time. And it's just like, it's friends and support. Don't talk to me. Like I got my game face on. So it was,
I talked to my wrestling friends and my coach, but like, I kind of had to leave family out because, they're always going to say good things. Like you got this and all, and like the positive things. And, when you're getting ready, you sometimes need that, but
you have a system. Like
if I'm getting ready,
like you have because there's obviously a mental component to the wrestling because it's a one-on-one. Like when you wrestle, do you ever notice like your opponent is bigger than you, and does that like shake your confidence a little bit, and that's why you kind of hold that?
Absolutely. I mean, throughout my wrestling, my coach has always said these kids are bigger than you. He's like, you either need to drop a weight class or hit a growth spurt, and it's hard to do that, especially when you cut,
right,
eat, cut. But I'm right now, I'm not happy with my weight. I'm gonna start dieting and stuff, but there's loads of kids who are taller and are bigger than me.
But we said this on the podcast a lot. You got the heart. Like you definitely have the skill.
My coach said something while I was in my camp. I went against a big high school kid, and he's like, "There's no doubt that you have heart, and there's no heart that you don't fight." And he's like, "But I don't think you have the mindset to be able to, lose the weight and
that kind of discipline,
do the little things, reading,
right,
watching wrestling and all that." And he's like, "You do all the other stuff, you do all the big things. You go to tournaments, you do the clubs, but you don't do the little things. And the little things is what you see state placers and like winners at state. That's what they do, and that's how they elevate themselves."
That's the X factor. You can have all the skill and the heart. You know what you're doing. You're good at it, but it's just that little extra that's going to put you over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've gotten better with it. I definitely think I've been better with it this year with the wrestling and kind of just understanding a little bit, especially during the regular CTW podcast, like just understanding what it is that you're going through. So I think I've chilled out a little bit with regards to like not seeing you for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
You even said it on the podcasting is a superpower.
Yeah. So for some of the family, is there anything that you would like to say to the family unit that says that, knowing that you focus a lot on the wrestling and your friends right now, because and again, to be fair, you're a teenager. I don't like, my mom wasn't my best friend when I was a teenager. It was all my other friends for years, and only now is my mom my best friend. So it's like, just knowing that you have that separation from the family a little bit. Is there anything that you would want to reassure them of or comment to them?
Sometimes I'm stressed. This is probably towards like the people I live with. I'm sometimes stressed, some things, sometimes things happen at school and you don't want to talk about it. And I'm going to keep needing the support that I already am given. And that's really it. And yeah.
Okay, you hit a couple of things. So,
here, I'll tell you what I'm not excited for.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and just comment that I'll speak on behalf of this side of the family is when we don't see you, we definitely 100% understand and support everything that you're doing in wrestling, or at school, and your family on the other side now. So we would just like you to know that if you do ever need anything, or if you ever are stressed out, you got a bunch of us here, and I know your mom and David are there to help you out. So if ever, we're here for you, but we kind of just let you do your thing. I think we're all excited just to see you just continuing to grow. So what are you scared or worried about going into high school?
Some of my closest friends are going into senior year.
Oh no, you only got 1 year with them.
I would probably say my closest friend, he's graduating. He gives me rides to practices all the time, He's always like my, because I do gymnastics too.
And what's so funny is like you seemed the other day, you mentioned it, and you kind of just chuckle a little bit now. I think it's a fantastic idea. Like gymnastics and ballet.
I laughed because I forgot about it.
I'm gonna say, because like for a second I was like, he can't be embarrassed about doing gymnastics, because like even if you did ballet, I'm like, those are like hardcore like classes that like hardcore athletes used to like still take, is because it helps work out your core, your endurance, your balance. So like I totally get it. But yeah, it is kind of funny that you do tend to forget to tell me that you do stuff. So your buddy's leaving.
And then there's he's always like my partner for like things, not necessarily wrestling partners, because he's a senior. He's got to go with the bigger kids and he's not in my weight class. Gives me rides to practices, we hang out. And then I have another one who is more on the fun side, he's the like I said, like the more fun.
Okay.
Because my other friend is like, yeah, he's gonna be like, I could say he's like my best friend. And then I have the more fun, and then there's this there's a girl who always supported me, because there's been like rough times and like bumpy paths, and that's why I like these seniors, like it's gonna be really hard without them.
So next year might be a little bit harder, knowing that you lost the like the pillars of your support. Yeah. Are you a mentor to anybody? Kind of like how these seniors have taken you on. Are you Big Johnny, who's graduating? That's your friend, Big Johnny. Are you a Big Johnny to anybody?
I would like to say so. During my camp, I have these 2 7th graders who just always like, I feel like I always give them advice after their matches, and I feel like they do look up to me, and I'm glad they do. And if they don't, that's fine.
Right.
Like they're going to be my friends no matter what. But it's kind of cool that to have someone to look up to you. I don't really know them, because these kids don't say it.
Okay. Does Big Johnny and do the rest of the seniors know how you feel about them?
Yes.
Okay. What else are you worried about?
Not passing my classes.
Okay. What would happen if you started slipping in class? Does wrestling have to take a back seat? Okay.
It's not only is it my coach who's like, you don't get to wrestle. It's also required by district. And my mother well, not like if I'm not passing my classes,
Mhm.
and she's paying for all these things.
She's a big supporter of the wrestling. They definitely do a lot, and I try to say thank you as much as I can. I don't think it comes across as much as it does, but no, it is crazy hearing your schedule sometimes, because it's school wrestling, camp wrestling, and then maybe home for a small nap before you go back to school the next day. So it gets crazy. I got two things here. Let's do. You mentioned the fitness, working out. Is it strictly just to better wrestling? Is the reason why you wanted to diet, cut weight, and just work on the fitness aspect?
I said something to you maybe this week. I'm happy with the way I look, but not what the scale says.
Okay. The scale, the number is just a little bit. Okay. What are some of the? Because let's see. Mark, Pinky, mentioned it. Danielle, she's the 11-year-old. She's the one that's really curious on what it's gonna like. She's really curious on what the next what she can expect 3 years from now. With people focusing on image aspects, and they want to start dieting and they want to start cutting weight.
So I'm gonna start running, because I never did running because I hate running.
Mm-hmm.
Being in wrestling and gymnastics, I'm gonna stay active.
Okay.
And
so if we had advice on if anybody was a little self-conscious about the weight, what would be some of the better ways to maintain it?
counting your carbs.
Okay.
Make sure you're eating the good foods. Counting calories, I mean.
Yeah.
And then watching the carbs. Staying away from those pastas, the breads, all that. And if you're trying to look lean, go towards more of the protein. And because if you're eating protein and you're intermittent fasting, you're going to be losing weight while gaining a lot of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend staying active, and because that's another thing, with all these school activities, I'm going to be staying active, and have less time to eat.
Okay. Do you think kids should be worried about an average kid, not in any kind of athletic sport? Should they be worried about dieting and weight and the image side of things?
Be a kid.
Be a kid.
I mean, if you bully people because they're fat, you're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You should never bully someone on their appearance, because you never know. What if they have like a disorder, or like they have to, or they're just being themselves and they just eat what they want. They have nothing, like there's nothing wrong with eating whatever you want. All these football players eat whatever they want, but then if there's, say like a boy or a girl who's, chunky, and they're like, you're fat. I'm like, and they imagine if that was happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids have better metabolism than others. And like I said, some kids they choose to eat what they want, and that's their choice. And you have no choice in that.
I think it's interesting because, like you said, everybody has a different metabolism, or just you're still fundamentally still growing. So like your body's going through all kinds of weird changes. So we don't necessarily know.
If they want to look a certain way, they will.
Right. But So I think it's important to do you read up on books on proper dieting or anything like I would like to think that if a teenager wants to explore better eating habits, maybe not dieting, but just like you said, counting calories, or just not eating a full bag of chips, in kind of those things. Do you have anybody at your school that you can go to that would be like, hey, is there a way, like no counselors or
just my wrestling coaches?
Okay.
They are my counselors.
Have you ever talked to them about that?
Everything. I it's kind of just it's straightforward, you know.
Okay.
You look it up and it'll tell you everything.
Mm.
And my mom helps me with it. And going back to like episode 16, David talked about how he lost his weight, and it's intermittent fasting, counting your carbs,
Responsible.
Not eating at night, because eating at night is the worst.
We are both guilty of that. We will eat the biggest plate of spaghetti, hate ourselves, and then go to bed.
Yeah.
But be responsible.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like going into high school, I need to be more disciplined if I want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am at the way that I want to be, like that my coach wants me to be at, I'm reading, I'm doing everything it takes. I just have to trust the process.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned a couple of weeks ago, you half hinted at it last night a little bit, that kind of triggered today's episode. With you doing as much as you're doing and you burn out, like, what does that do to you mentally when it's Russell, you didn't do as good as you wanted to in a tournament, and like, what are some of the what starts to happen there?
I'm kind of a confident kid, and something I do is like I always walk off the mat with a smile. You know, if I lose in the finals of a tournament, sure, I'll be disappointed, but I'm always gonna be like, hey, it's fine. You know, I'll get over it. This doesn't matter right now. This is gonna matter when I'm in the state finals. That's when I can be upset about losing.
But the mental health aspect, like what happens when you burn out?
So when I do too much wrestling, that started to happen my off season this year of club wrestling, school wrestling, club wrestling, and school wrestling on the same day, Friday gymnastics, Saturday tournament. That's when I started getting a little burnt out, because it was supposed to be my off season,
Mm-hmm.
and I was treating it like it was my in season. But I will say I'm very glad I did that, because I am a 10 times better wrestler than I was before.
But how did you make it through it? Like, how do you not just throw your hands up and be like, screw it, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore?
It's part of wrestling. You need to be tough. If what goes through my mind is like, if I want to be successful, I got to keep going. And it also helps when your friends are going and everything.
What do you? I know originally when I threw out this Whimsy with the Z idea, you were kind of still on the fence about it, and you kind of came around a little bit after listening to the 5 episodes last night. What do you think of Whimsy with the Z now? Now that you can actually hear the vision that I was trying to explain, that we can hear these 5 individuals kind of just sharing, because it's not easy. Is it easier to talk to me than it is your mom?
Yes.
Are you nervous at all that you're on the mic right now and that this is going to go out?
No.
So with these 5 teens, this is the first time that they've ever talked to me. Sometimes these were legit first conversations. But yeah, what do you like about this Whimsy with the Z?
I think the idea is brilliant. It's gonna give the ideas of kids and kind of show it to the adults.
Okay.
And it's gonna really go in and see what it's like to be a kid now, because you know your kid when you were in school is different to our kid now.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that you should show all the other kids these episodes, and kind of try to relate them all. And I feel like it would be great to have all of them on a podcast at once and talk about things. Mm-hmm. Because being a kid is not easy, but it's not hard. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see different perspectives from different kids. Obviously, the 16 to 11, that's the age groups we have right now. And 17.
Yeah, there's one 17.
17 to 11. That's a pretty good different age group. You're going to see what the 17-year-old likes now, you know, what Mark likes, and then what I like, and then what the 11-year-old likes. And I think it's pretty interesting.
What do you hope to get out of now? I don't know, because you are going to go back to school, so you're going to start getting busy again. I would love to continue doing the Whimsy with the Z with you. What do you hope to get out of talking more like this on the serious side, and then hearing from everybody else? Like, you guys are, because in theory, you guys are building a community of Whimsy Zs. So, what do you hope to get out of this?
It's good to vent sometimes, talk about everything, see how you're feeling.
Okay.
I feel like you need to get it out there sometimes.
Okay. What are some of the other topics that you think would be important that we eventually tackle somewhere down the line?
I'm listening to all the interviews. You didn't go over their mental health. You talked a lot about, just the academics and the school part of it. You talked a lot about it. They didn't really go over what they do with their friends and what makes them happy, what their parents should be doing, to help them be successful. Kind of going, as you get to know these kids a little more, get a little more personal as time goes on.
All right. Let's see. Do you have any suggestions or comments for me?
I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. You might be inspiring these kids to podcast, and really helping them kind of shape who they are.
You do feel that there's a benefit of podcasting? Like, if we weren't podcasting, would you be as open with family and your parents?
With family, yes. Speaking publicly, that helps a lot. And then it's just fun. Like, I have obviously towards wrestling season, I might not be on as much.
But when you come back, we always have a good time.
Yes, I was gone for almost a month, and then we had Liam on the run.
Right. Which was a breakout episode.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right. I think that's all I got. I thank you for. I mentioned it to you. I didn't want to force or pressure you into it, and I am super excited and happy that after listening to the other teens, you kind of again realized what the vision was starting to kind of to show, and that you wanted to kind of jump in and kind of be just another voice for the teen community. I will be interested to see how you guys all help each other, because I definitely think you have your friends that help you through things, and I like the idea that this little community of you guys could be that support group for each other, or for anybody listening even. But we will get with you for another Whimsy with the Z a little bit after school starts, and we'll see how the first weeks of freshman went. See if you're still happy.
Getting stuffed in the lockers, getting bullied.
Right? Or you're like, vice president's no more fun. But we're all here to support whatever it is that you want to do. If you have any questions or help with anything, definitely reach out, because we will recommend it to the rest of the Zoomers. But that's all I got for you. You want to hit it?
With the Z, baby.